I was 29 years old. All these guys are younger than that. Called the cops and tell them I got a phone number. He says it wouldn't do any good. I said I just making people aware of there's something going on.
Okay. All right, I've got you all framed up, and I'm gonna sit down and take a few notes while we visit.
Need a Pepsi or something?
I'm good to go. Thank you. Okay. So what I normally do is just kind of go through chronologically and kind of ask where you're from and how you got into the military and what exactly you did and just kind of describe for me what you did and how you felt about it and what you did after your service was over and how you felt about your time in the service. So that's kind of the line of questioning that I'll have. Okay. So where's home for you? Where were you born?
Nelson, Nebraska.
Where is it?
Nelson, Nebraska.
Nelson?
That's where I was born.
Is that a small town?
My lifetime's been in El Dorado.
Okay. Okay.
I was the only one out of 9 born out of the state.
Grew up in El Dorado?
Mm-hmm.
Did you graduate from El Dorado?
And well, it's only 4 of us. Let's see. Only 4 of us left now out of 9.
Did you graduate from here?
Yes, El Dorado High School.
What year?
1958.
And you said you didn't get drafted until you were 29. What did you do between high school and 29?
I was a mechanic at the Cadillac garage.
At the Cadillac garage.
Yeah. I couldn't work on them now, too much technician.
And then tell me what happened when it came when you were 29.
Well, I kept going down with Esther Miner was the lady that took care of the draft cards, and I kept checking with her and everything. She couldn't find where I'd ever registered. So then they kept looking. One day she called and said they found them. It was my papers got laid on top of a stack of papers, and they was going in and out. So then after that, in about 2 weeks, I was on the way up for a physical, Kansas City. They made me a leader of the people going up there. But when we got up there, it was cold. And
you think your draft papers were lost in the shuffle?
Well, they couldn't find them. So she said they had been put on top of, a full rack, just going back and forth with the drawer. That's what she said. For 2 weeks, I was gone.
And that was
then
when they did find your draft papers. In 2 weeks, you were gone.
Well, I went up for the first physical. Then they sent me back home. Then they made me a leader again, and we went back up there. This time, I was to be sworn in. And we just had summer clothes. We met the bus out here on the turnpike, and there was 5 of it. We didn't even have a seat. We had to stand all the way to Kansas City.
Wow.
Then when they went through the swearing in and everything, then they just put us back out on the street, wait for a bus. Oh, it was cold. So then that bus went straight to Fort Leonard Wood. We got there late in the morning, and everybody was asleep. They just took us through barracks after barracks. Just pick out a book, empty bed, take it. But I was lucky at Fort Leonard Wood. We got brand new buildings, brick buildings. And then I was made a platoon leader, so that kept me out of KP.
They kept you out of what?
KP, guard duty. So then when we got through with the AIT, I was a holdover. They didn't have any place to send me. So all we had to do is get up. We had nobody watching. All we had to do is go up and go, police call, clean the area, clean the bed. Didn't do nothing all day. So then I thought, maybe I can get out of here. So they finally put my orders up. They sent me to Fort Gordon, Fort Gordon, Georgia. And they put me in a typing school down there. And I hadn't typed for 30 years, so I was a little slow. But one day we sitting in the room typing, and they come in and shut the door, turned the TV on, and showed us that Kennedy had been shot. So we drew our weapons. Everything was up about all night long. We thought we was probably going to Cuba because the missile deal was going on right at that time. But we didn't do nothing. Next morning we had a big parade. We were sitting on the parade field, just far as you could see was men and equipment.
This is while you were in Georgia?
No, yes, at Fort Gordon.
So how long were you at Fort Leonard Wood? Like less than a year, or?
No, I went in August. I think, I don't know. It was cold to hot.
Okay. So and then you were sent to Fort Gordon, Georgia.
Yeah.
Is that still there, you think?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to look it up.
That's where they had the training for cryptograph. Then I went over from this side of Fort Gordon around to the other side of to try to work on cryptograph, and that was you send all this. I was really scared I was going to have to work at because it was a pretty technical job. So then I was a holdover there, made more butt cans, got sent to Fort Benning, 150 miles. So then they didn't know that I'd been in as long as I had, so they thought I'd be there a long time. So they put me in the division signal office. And we ran the radio, everybody, the communications they run on.
Okay.
Then we'd stand at the door. Unless you had a top security, you couldn't come in. The next day, I'd go get my Jeep, stack papers, and drive all over. Nobody guarding the papers, nothing. All by myself after all this free stuff. So I thought that was kind of a fluke, but.
Now, what was happening in Vietnam at this time? Was there ever any fear that you would be
It was
sent
just
over?
getting wound up.
It was just getting wound up.
When I got down to 58 days, they generally give you your clearing papers somewhere around 30 days. Well, I had 58 days to go. And they took the 2nd Infantry Division and all our, and sent to the 1st Cav, which is helicopters, and sent them straight to the front. And had my Oldsmobile headed for Kansas.
So you got lucky.
I got lucky. I didn't get shot. This guy I was telling you about went through Vietnam, was in a bar in Wichita and got shot. Somebody shot him in the leg.
He survived Vietnam, but he got shot in the leg at a bar in Wichita.
Yeah. But
Jeez. So you were pretty close
yes,
to being sent to Vietnam, but
Yeah.
you said your last 58 days there, your
We were-
2 years were up, or
we were painting barracks and stuff like that. I sat down they had a ladder laying there, and I sat down on the side of that, and the ladder tripped, and I went down. When I come down, there was a 2x4 there with a 16-penny nail, went straight through my hand. So they took me up to the emergency room, and they had it at that time they just had 3 guys get blowed up on a grenade run, and they took care of me before they did him.
oh,
I couldn't get it off. They just kind of went and pulled it off. Well, I always got that I wasn't doing much of anything in there, but I'd do it again.
did you ever? I mean, so you just served you served 2 years,
Yeah, I had it.
and then you were what do you call it? After your 2 years were up, you were
Reserved.
sent to the reserves.
Yeah, but my reserves I was in St. Louis, so I didn't ever have to go to it. They just send me papers. But I thought I told Richard over there the other day that I said, this $500 is more than the Army paid in 5 months. Making a whole $125 a month. And then time you shine, got your clothes clean and everything, you's broke.
So when that 2 years was over, was that a discharge, or was that just
Honorable discharge.
it was an honorable discharge?
Yeah.
And then you chose to go into the reserves.
No, you're automatically put in reserve
Okay.
for 6 years. But I was planning on re-upping until this Vietnam stuff started.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think I need to be going somewhere, getting shot.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how many friends I might have that's not here with us because of Vietnam.
These photos that you have here, what are these from?
These are just at Fort Benning.
These are from Fort Benning.
Yeah, that's my
These were while you were at Fort Benning, or when you?
when we was at Fort Benning. He was a soccer player from Baltimore, and I called him the banker, because every time we got paid, he still had money from the last check.
Okay. So these were while you were at Fort Benning.
Yes.
Okay, I'll take some pictures.
That Jeep there, we had a Captain Lucido come back. He had been to Vietnam. He says, he got in my Jeep there one day and he says, why won't they let me drive this Jeep? He says, over there they make you climb the poles. They're shooting at you and everything. Come to back here and you can't even drive your own Jeep. So then the full colonel was from Olathe. That was over my battalion. And his wife was coming home the same time I was going on leave. And he asked me if I'd care if his wife rode with me. I said, well, I told him, I says, she might not like it because I don't stop. I drive straight through because I only got so many days. So she wouldn't like that. So he was a great man too.
Okay. So then you were in the reserves for 6 years
Yes,
out of St. Louis?
yes, but I didn't have to go because it's so far. They just send me forms to sign to say that I was still alive, I guess.
It was so far from home? It was so far from here?
From here to St. Louis,
Okay.
they didn't think I'd have to go down there.
Okay. Okay. So you never participated in any reserve activities or anything?
No,
Okay. So what did you do when you came back to El Dorado?
I got back in town on Friday, and Monday I went back to my old job as a mechanic. I felt pretty good because I made as much money half a week as I did a month down there.
You were back at the garage?
Yeah.
How long did you work at the garage? How long did you work at that garage?
I worked downtown from 58 to 70 with the 2 years out. In 1970, I started my own business. I rented a gas station down here. I run a gas station and mechanic. And more or less took all the customers I had with me down there. And the owner of that place, about 2 times a week, he'd stop in and want me to come back to work for him. Be a parts man, run his car wash, but he wanted my place closed because I had his business.
I see. How long did you operate that?
1973, and then I went and sold.
For 3 years?
I went selling Prudential Insurance. I wasn't long finding out that wasn't my. So then I went truck driving. For my brother had some trucks, so I drove a truck, hauled asphalt.
With your brother?
Larry. My brother Paul worked with us, and then 1975 I got on at the refinery. And then they took bankruptcy in 1985, so I was right back in the truck.
Okay. Back in the asphalt truck?
Yes. Hot asphalt. Summertime,
Hard work.
that truck would, I'd drive 400 miles that way just as fast as I could. Unload, drive back so I could do it again the next day.
Man, that is hard work.
Had sleepless work.
Yeah. How many years you end up doing that?
I'm trying to think.
Is that mainly what you did for?
After that, after they took the refinery took bankruptcy, everybody thought I'd open my garage back up I said, no, I've been out of it too long. My tools are in the garage. That's where they're staying.
Yeah.
They're still out there.
Okay. Okay.
I don't even work on my own car now.
Yeah.
I'm so hot, crippled up, I can't change oil.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything's so. The technology's so different these days. Well, when you look back at your time in the service, how much pride do you take in, or do you take pride in your 2 years in the service?
Well, if I'd have been able to do more, I'd have probably done it. But I was pretty proud. I wear my Army hat and get a lot of thank yous and everything to this day. I'm pretty proud of a veteran.
Good.
Yeah, it was a touch and go deal a long time, whether you liked it enough to, but then when it was getting close to getting out, I had to re-up talk. And the first time I said, no, I'm going home. And then I kept going. Then I thought about going ahead and re-upping for 4 more years. But then they started shooting. I just didn't know how to take that, so I went ahead and retired.
Yeah. Well, who can blame you? The way things were in the world at that time.
I had a lot of friends go over there. I've tried to keep contact with some in that book. They've either moved or died or something, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But most of them were younger than I was.
Mm-hmm.
I played a lot of sports and built a lot of butt cans and soccer, or a lot of horseshoe pits, stuff like that. Planted trees, done cement work.
You said that you might have some photos of yourself in here?
Yeah, this is from Leonardwood. I was 29 years old. All these guys are younger than that. After we did our fit PT, our helmets and stuff were all well, then they turned loose. The first one to get their helmets and shirts on, get a ride in the bus to go, or a truck to go back. I never was outrun.
Oh, really?
I was actually put up for recruit and they chose this guy instead of me.
Does that bring back memories flipping through that book?
I looked at it quite a bit. can't even find myself.